Hey YouTube, it's Chris. Welcome back to the YouTube journey. Today, we're doing something a little special. Yes, I'm wearing a tie, and I kind of look like a detective, but that was not intentional. Promise. Okay, so, to preface this, I wanted to do something a little different. Talk with Steven when he was here. By the way, Steven was here for a little while. It was super fun. We had a little bit of fun. We only recorded one video together, but we came up with a concept for another video that I decided would be super fun to do. And I have my little notes because I'm going to need notes to do this. Yes, guys, we have decided to do our top 10 video games of all time. I'm doing my top 10 because Steven doesn't like too many games. Okay, so our little criteria for a game, I guess, being able to be on your list. For me, it was really hard to narrow it down to 10. So our little criteria is if you would play the game again without being asked to. If you just sat down one day and would just replay the whole game after you've already finished it once. For me, it was super easy to just think of so many games that I loved to death. It was kind of hard to just pick 10, but I did narrow it down to 10. And, apology, flat out, there is no Mario game on this list. I am a very loyal Nintendo fan, but no Mario game, guys. I'm sorry. There was no room with all my other favorite games for there to be a Mario game on here. Just so you guys know, no repeating games for any franchises. Otherwise, a lot of this list would be Kingdom Hearts for me. No repeating games. It's one game per series, I guess you could say. I didn't include any mobile games because mobile games aren't video games. Simple as that. And I'm just going to go from 10th being my lowest and then work my way up to my number 1. So these are in an order. Okay. So number 10 for me is Pokemon Heartgold. Now, I love Pokemon, but I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be the one that I put on the list? Because I love Pokemon and I was trying to narrow it down to what's my favorite Pokemon game. Well, I was going to put Crystal because Crystal was my favorite Pokemon game growing up. It was the one that I played over and over and over and over and over again. But eventually I came to me, I was like, but it's kind of old and I kind of like the newer-ish ones, not the new ones Sun and Moon I just don't like. I don't know, just a personal thing. Mega Ruby I didn't even finish. Like, I finished the Elite Four and that was really it. I didn't play any extra game. X and Y were a lot of fun. Put way too much time into those. But, and then I was like, wait, Heartgold and Soul Silver were my favorite games. They were so good. They had the Pokemon that follows you around. Whatever your first party member is, it follows you around for the whole entirety of the game, which is super awesome and super fun. So of course that was going to be like, there were so many things about it. The what the heck's it called? The little thing that you got to carry around with you. The step counter pedometer thingy. Has a name, don't remember it. But that thing's amazing. I still have mine to this day. I love it. Okay, let's see. What is my number 9? Number 9. Okay, so obviously you've seen my Master Sword. Maybe you've seen me in my Link costume from our Happy Halloween video. But you're gonna say, Chris, you're gonna put a Zelda game on this list somewhere. And it is on my number 9 spot because there's so many games on here that I actually enjoyed more than the Legend of Zelda series. Just because my taste in games has changed frantically throughout my life. But Zelda's always been a constant, Pokemon's always been a constant. But it's just that these other games that are on the list here, and you'll hear later, just compel me more, I would say. So the game that I picked out of all of the links I could have chosen, I picked Twilight Princess. It was hard for me. It was a tie between Winwaker and Twilight Princess, and I guess you could kind of put both on here, honestly. See, even if you want to put Winwaker link and Twilight Princess link. But yeah, Twilight Princess, super amazing game, sort of edgy and different and darker than most Zelda games, which is why a lot of people like it and or hate it. Kind of a flip of a coin for most people, whether they love the game or hate the game. I love it. I think it's awesome. I think the whole wolf section is really cool. all of it's just an awesome game. Final boss is like 6 parts. It's so long and so amazing, and you get to that last. Oh, and it's so good. Final boss fight for Winwaker. I might as well, just so you guys know, tons of spoilers in this video. The ending to Winwaker, where you drive the sword so deep into Ganon's head that it probably pokes his stomach. And you just sit there and he turns into a rock. Like, what? That kid looks like he's like 8 years old. How could you do that to him? I really love Zelda. And I'm honestly a little sad that it isn't higher on my list, but there's just so many games. It's like it's being outshined by so many other amazing games. It's just, I love Zelda, but there's so many games that I love a little bit more than it, or just as much as it, you know? Moving on. Number 7. No, wait. How did I do 7? We didn't do 8 yet. Do I know how to count? Guess not. Number 8 is a little bit of a more obscure title, I would say. I guess in my head I'm thinking every YouTuber who does a top 10 favorite games list eventually has like a really obscure game somewhere on the list, usually in the 7 through 10 numbers. My number 8 is the little bit more obscure one. It's Ninokuni, Wrath of the White Witch. It's a PS3 game, it's an RPG, it's the whole movie, or not movie, the whole game is animated by Studio Ghibli, who has brought you Spirited Away, and My Neighbor Totoro, and The Wind Rises, and a bunch of really, really beautiful anime movies. So they did the whole game, and it's awesome. It's such a good game, it makes me cry, it's really enjoyable. The familiars system is a little bit like Pokemon, but different, and I actually really love it. And it really allows them to grow really quickly, and you can kind of determine how they grow and everything. I think it's just really entertaining and fun. So yeah. Okay, now we're on to number 7. I know how to count. And this was a hard one because this number 7 spot in my head was for a whole series, and I just couldn't decide which game in the series to put here. But eventually I narrowed it down and figured it out exactly what I wanted to put. And I ended up narrowing it down to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Of all the Ace Attorney games, Ace Attorney 4, which is usually the, not loved one, is my favorite. Apollo is my favorite Ace Attorney character. He's my favorite defense attorney in the whole series. I find some of them annoying, but I love Apollo. I think he's awesome. He's sort of like me in a weird way. I don't know. I just like him a lot. He's awesome. What exactly I expected from that, but I just really, really like Apollo. He's super cool. He's different. The sections where he sort of is like seeing things and he goes into weird stuff with his ring, like his bracelet, like that's really cool. Like Apollo's some like borderline like X-Men member mutant kind of guy. Like, dude, awesome. But yeah, and the entire Ace Attorney series is amazing. If you have not played any of them, you owe it to yourself to sit down and play the trilogy at the very least. I know the trilogy you can get on the 3DS. It's usually on sale for like $20, $30. Like, that's $10 per game. You can get them on the Wii eShop if you want, the Wii Shop channel if you want. You can do that on your Wii U if any of you still have one of those like I do. Or is it just me? It's just me, isn't it? Okay. Okay, number 6 spot. To tie between 2 games in a series. Again, that'll happen a lot on this list, honestly. But I can't help it. It's a tie. I think I've actually mentioned my love for this game previously in videos. Maybe you caught it, maybe you didn't. It's a tie between Mega Man X and Mega Man X4. Mega Man X definitely higher above 4. I could probably have just said Mega Man X, but X4 is really awesome, and the music in X4 is really good too. But Mega Man X definitely above X4. Mega Man X is probably one of my favorite platformers, just in general. It's fun, it's challenging. I can play through most of the levels blindfolded, which is really fun and impressive, and I really hope that one day I can go to like a SGDQ, AGDQ type of thing and do it there. Or maybe do it on the channel once we have all the equipment and stuff to really sit down and like allow me to stream that and just be like, okay guys, I'm putting a blindfold on, I won't be able to read your comments for the next hour and a half, like, here we go. but it's a game that means a lot to me, and Mega Man is a huge franchise for me. I don't know if you guys know that I have a whole Mega Man costume and everything. I obsess over Mega Man so much. And I like the X series over the classic series, so it was definitely an easy, okay, which X game is my favorite? But, yeah. And a lot of these are like, oh, these are on every typical YouTuber is like, oh, these are my favorite games. They like retro games. Mega Man X is going to be on there. Like, shut up, guys. This is what I like. Shh, go to bed. I don't want to hear you. Okay, number 5. Ironically, in spot number 5 is a more recent game, actually, Persona 5. In spot number 5. But Persona 5 blew me away. I had played a little bit of 3, I had played all of 4, and I actually kind of really didn't realize that 5 had came out. And then it had been out for a little while, and I saw a YouTuber, Nico B. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's awesome. You should check him out. I'll link him in the description, actually. And you let him know that I sent you. And who the heck is Starinari? But, like, let him know Chris from Starinari sent you. If you want. I bet he'd love some more fans. He's finally, like, doing well with the channel, and I'm so happy that he is. I've been following him for years. But, talking way too fast, I'm running out of air to breathe. But I saw he was playing it and was like, oh my god, Persona 5, and I ordered it on Amazon, and Amazon had this thing where they're like, oh, we'll deliver it like today, and it's because I lived in New York at the time, and it literally showed up in like 2 hours, and I sat down and oh my god, what can I say about Persona 5? The soundtrack, the gameplay, the everything. Morgana is a cat who speaks and is a thief. Wears a bandana. I love bandanas, guys. You probably know that by now. Joker is the coolest character ever in any Persona game. I'm sorry, he's the coolest protagonist ever. He wears that cool mask. The soundtrack is amazing. I paid $30 for it digitally, and I listened to it on loop. It's the only soundtrack I actually have or song or album I have downloaded on my iPad and my phone. Like, it's just... because it's like, I don't listen to music a lot, but when I do, Persona 5 introduced me to acid jazz, a genre that I didn't know existed, but it does, and it's amazing. Yeah. But yes, play Persona 5, PS4, PS3, it's on the PS3. You have one of those two things, or if you don't, go buy them and play Persona 5. You will not regret it. I promise you, you won't regret it. It is such a good game. I could go on and on about it. We'll probably make a video down the line where I just talk about it. Or maybe we'll play it on the channel. We'll see. What else do we have? Number 4. Okay. Xenoblade Chronicles. There's probably a lot I could say, but at the same time I feel like there's not a lot I have to say. If you play the new Smash Brothers, you're probably like, who is this Shulk guy? What's this weird red lasers lightsaber sword thing that he has? That is the Minato. He screams about how it's the Minato's power all the time. He seems like a goofy weirdo in Smash Brothers. It's not far off from his actual character, but Xenoblade makes me cry. Like, first like hour and a half of the game, you're like really into it, and then blank spoiler scene happens, and it hits you like a brick. And from that point forward, like that scene, that spoilery thing happens, and from then on, you are so motivated to finish the rest of that game. Oh, that game, it just like takes your heart and it grabs hold of it, and you cannot stop playing that game until you finish it. And that's like 100 hours of game. But my goodness, that is 100 hours well spent. I don't care what you have to do. 100 hours to spend on Xenoblade Chronicles is so worth it, guys. So worth it. Spend the time. This is the Minato's power. It's worth it. And I promise you, you won't regret a second of it. Okay, guys, we are down to the final 3. These are my top 3 games of all time. So, this is getting pretty intense, guys. So, in spot number 3, this might be another weird, obscure pick. You're probably like, Chris, you're probably going to complain about this one. If we don't have enough subscribers to be able to complain. So it's kind of fun, actually, where I can say, oh, you're probably going to complain, but nobody's going to complain. We don't have enough of a following for that yet. It'll happen eventually, or it won't. I really hope it does, though. Not jinxing it or anything, I just really hope we have a following at one point, because I want one. Okay, so in spot number 3 is a game called Mother 3. Mother 3 never came out here in the US. It is the sequel to Earthbound, a game that we had a lot of trouble even getting out here again on the Virtual Console and the Wii U, but we got it, and now we're praying and hoping that Mother 3 comes out here. But for those of us who were too lazy to wait, and the game's been out since 2006, so I wanted to play it. Like, sorry, I want to play a game. I don't want to wait a million years if you're not going to localize it. It's amazing. I have never cried more playing a video game than when I played Mother 3. There's a fan translation made by Tomato. They translate games. It's amazing. I have never cried more. I have never felt so emotionally attached to pixels on a screen than I do to that game. It is the most beautiful Game Boy Advance game I've ever seen. The soundtrack is the most beautiful soundtrack I have ever heard come out of one speaker on a Game Boy Advance. Honestly, to this day, I don't believe it's a Game Boy Advance game. I don't. It's too impressive to be, like, everything about it. The graphics, the sound, the music. It's just like, this isn't a Game Boy game. Like, what is this? Where is this thing existing? I don't even know. It's amazing. Do yourself the favor. Download the Japanese ROM and an emulator for it. Download the patch so it's in English from the fan translation website. I don't care if that's like, oh no, don't do that. Please do that. It is so worth it. I promise you it is. Number 2. Guys, this one you probably saw coming if you've been keeping up with our channel from the beginning. It's Chrono Trigger. Ta-da! Chrono Trigger is like a lifelong thing to me. I have been playing Chrono Trigger since before I could walk. The earliest things I can remember, Chrono Trigger is somewhere in my head. Probably not before I could walk, but you get the idea. It's always been a constant in my life. Chrono Trigger, it's the greatest game of all time. You take Square, who makes the best RPGs of all time, arguably, but in my opinion they used to. They're not recently, but still. Shh. We're not talking about recently, we're talking about 1997 when video games were still amazing regardless of where you were looking. Except some 3D stuff, because like Bubsy came out around then, and Bubsy's bad. Bubsy 3D, I mean. Ugh. But I'm getting way sidetracked. Chrono Trigger, best game ever. If you go back, I think episode 2 of the YouTube journey is me ranting about how much I love Chrono Trigger. The soundtrack. Best thing that came out of a Super Nintendo's sound fountain ever. Ever, guys. Ever. In the world. Do you understand that? It is amazing. The graphics, the characters, the everything. Chrono dies halfway through the game. The main character that you name after yourself, if you want to, dies halfway through the game. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but it does. It happens. You can either choose to go back and save him because it's a time travel game, or you don't go back and save him and finish the game without Chrono. You get a different ending. There's like 12 different endings in that game. And I've played all of them. More than once. I have played Chrono Trigger so many times. That game means the world to me. It's amazing. You're probably saying, Chris, if this game means so much to you, why is it not number 1 on your list? Well, there is one single series that rings out true over Chrono Trigger for me. And it's funny because it's from the exact same company that makes Chrono Trigger, so it's like, it's close. Kingdom Hearts 2 is my number 1 game of all time. Yeah. It's amazing. It's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. Because I was like, Kingdom Hearts, number 1. I just had to figure out which one was my favorite. Kingdom Hearts 2 has the Battle of 1,000 Heartless, which is the craziest, most amazing thing in the world. You fight 1,000 Heartless. How epic is that? All at once, just like taking them down 100 by 100. Like it's nothing. It has the crazy fight with Xemnas. It's like 3,000 parts long, and it gets into the whole laser fight at the end. You've probably seen it in memes or something, where him and Riku are standing there deflecting the thousands of little needle bullets that are shooting at them. What else is in that game? Mulan is a world in that game, okay? You can go see Mulan and Eddie Murphy. I mean, the dragon who is Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's in the game, okay? Halloween Town. Pirates of the Caribbean is in that game. All these forms for Sora. Roxas fucking dies at the beginning of the game. Or doesn't die. He goes to be back with Sora. Complicated. Not going to get into explaining Kingdom Hearts to you guys. That is like 13 videos. Organization 13 reference? Whoa. No, it's not. But still. It's amazing. Do yourself a favor and play all the Kingdom Hearts games. They are all on one single game on the PS4. It's 1.5 plus 2.5. Then all you have to do is get 2.8 and you have all the games to date. It's 2 games. That's all you have to buy. And you have everything. And you can play all of them in order because they're all listed right in order for you. And you just play all of it. And it'll all make sense as long as you play it all in order. And if any of you actually go and buy both of those games and literally sit through all of them and come back to me and tell me how much you love Kingdom Hearts, I made like a difference in someone's life because I know how like magical Kingdom Hearts is. Like Disney meets Final Fantasy meets just like anime somewhere in the mix. And how does that work? But it does. It works so well. And it's so like convoluted and complicated at this point. But as long as you play the games, it makes sense. Like it's not convoluted unless you just like jump in at like the 5th game and you're like, what is all of this? Well, no, of course you're not going to understand. Play the games in order, you silly. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. I will die. That will be the end of the channel, guys. I know I said when we reach 50 subs, I'm deleting the channel. But when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, I'll literally die. The channel will have to end. But yeah. Maybe that gives you guys a little more insight into the love of my video games for me. And what ones are most important to me. Probably looking at them like Chris, like almost all of these games are JRPGs. Yep. Now you know what genre of game I like. Okay, and we're good. Okay, so my girlfriend wanted to be part of the video of these top 10s, the top 10 that I'm doing, and I think she's picked a couple of her favorite games so she can be part of the video. And she's next to me. She doesn't want to be on camera, which is fine. It's totally okay.
You know, you're the beautiful one.
You're the beautiful one. She doesn't think she's beautiful. She has no idea. She's being silly. Okay, but did you want to... Okay, so you wanted to do a top 5?
Yeah, because I don't have 10 that I like.
Okay. So, what's your number 5? So 1 being your favorite, 5 being your favorite, but out of the 5, your least favorite.
My least favorite out of my 5 favorite games is probably... Well, it's hard to say my least favorite because I love it, but... Okay, so Tetris.
Tetris is your 5?
Yes, my favorite one.
Tetris is your 5. Why do you love Tetris so much? Just...
Because, I don't know, I like to organize things, and that's the way the game is. It's like organizing.
It's like organizing, but a game.
Yeah. Making sure everything fits perfectly so that it's not like an eyesore. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I get that. Okay. Okay, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is Dr. Mario.
Okay, Dr. Mario. Also very much like Tetris.
Yes. Pretty much the same reason, but I do like that there's more... I actually think it's a little more challenging because you have to like get the pieces underneath stuff. You can be really very strategic in that game.
It's very strategic. Big strategy game. Strategy game fans, Dr. Mario. That's your new. Not, you know, not Civilization, nothing like that. No Fire Emblem. No. Dr. Mario, a puzzle game. We gotta match the colors in Dr. Mario too. You don't have to worry about that in Tetris.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst if you had to match colors in Tetris.
Right.
It'd be the worst.
Yes, it would be the worst.
Yeah.
If anything is, if you look up the worst.
It'd be if you had to match colors in Tetris.
Right. That's in the dictionary. It's right in there.
Okay, so what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble. Bubble Bobble's a fun game.
Yes.
We have yet to play Bubble Bobble together.
Yes, we have to play it together.
but that's fun. That's a
Because
good game.
I love the little creatures. They're so cute.
Little dragons. They have names. I'm gonna look it up and put it on the screen.
Okay.
Like
Oh, can you put them on there?
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
Okay. So you're number 2. So your second favorite game of all time.
Right. So my first and second are really like tied, but okay. So I'll put my second favorite is Tapper.
Tapper. Okay.
Which
Like
I played.
like the arcade game.
Yes.
Right.
Arcade game.
Okay.
And I'm really good at
You're
it.
good at Tapper.
Yeah, I've gotten all the way to the last level, but I can't beat the last level.
Can't be the last level.
No, it's hard.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
But
you
people don't know the last level has aliens. People don't know this because
People don't
nobody
know.
can get there.
Nobody's ever done it.
No.
People who made the game didn't get to the
Never
end of
have been there. They had no idea that they're aliens. They're But like I legit have had people watch me playing because that's how good I am.
Right,
People
how
will
good
stand
she
around
is.
and watch me play because I'm at the machine so long.
How good she is.
And then people are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know it looked
There's
like that."
aliens at the end of the game. Who? Nobody told me.
Right. Nobody knew.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So,
Okay.
my first favorite,
Okay, number 1.
which is how I spent much of my childhood years in my bedroom, sitting on a beanbag chair.
That's the best way to do anything.
Yes, playing Arrow the Acrobat.
Arrow the Acrobat's the best.
Yes.
That game's amazing. That's your number 1 game of all time.
That's my number 1 game of all time. I know you like Sonic a lot, but I
don't love Sonic. I have like a love-hate relationship with Sonic.
Yeah.
Because like the recent games that they made are all horrible games. Like they're disgustingly terrible. Sonic Mania was like made by fans. I told you about that.
Yeah.
And that game's great.
Yeah.
But Sega themselves haven't made a good Sonic game in like almost 10 years.
I just think that Arrow the Acrobat like kicks Sonic right out of the water.
And if they brought Arrow the Acrobat back, it would either be great or they'd mess it up like they do every time they make Sonic.
Right.
Because their problem is they bring Sonic into 3D,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very hard to do that. Because Sonic is like very much speed oriented, and it's very hard to translate from 2D to 3D.
Right. But I like Arrow because again, he's adorable.
Yeah, he is.
That's important to me. And there's lots of little secret like areas that you can find to collect. What does he collect? Like rings, just like Sonic, I think. What are those things? Yeah, I think they're rings.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. And but he swings.
Right, and that's cool too.
On stuff, and that's
Right.
awesome.
Also very cool.
Yeah, he swings through the air like a sugar glider.
I think he might be a sugar glider.
We should get one of those.
A sugar glider?
Yeah.
They get out a lot. Like they just like leave like out the window and they just never come back.
I knew someone that happened to.
It's like very like a common occurrence, I guess, with them is they just like get out and they never come back.
But you know that they must be dying because there's no like resurgence of sugar gliders in the area.
Well, no, I mean I can't imagine this little thing that like only eats fruit could live for very long.
Yeah. Please cut the fact that I use the word resurgence when there has to be like a surgence in order there to be a re-one.
I'm gonna leave it in. There's no reason to cut it out.
Okay, so you're welcome.
Well, thank you for being in my video, but not being in the video.
Well, someday.
Someday you'll be in the video.
Yeah.
When you think you want to be.
Yeah, I appreciate you respecting my boundaries.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.
So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Star and Ari, but you can call me Chris. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.